In this episode, I'm going to teach you guys how to network online through email, through direct message, and social media. I'm going to teach you guys my approach for how I make connections and build relationships online so that you guys can make more opportunities for yourself. Stick around. Based off of the poll in the discussion in the pro group, it sounds like a lot of you guys had voted up for making your own opportunities and networking online. Really just, we live in a digital age, so how do you reach out to people? How do you make connections so that you can open up more opportunities for yourself? In this episode, what we're going to do is we're going to look at my personal approach and then look at a couple of examples through direct messaging, through any social platform, through email, and then how do you utilize a social media platform to open up opportunities. And I want to say that each of you guys have unlimited potential to create your own opportunities. It doesn't matter where you are, where you grew up, or what current situation you're in. I think each and every one of you has unlimited potential to make these opportunities for yourself. Just speaking for myself, I grew up as a creative, very introverted, very shy. Like I'd only talk to my brother or like people I was super close with when I go to parties. But, over the years, because of the opportunities I've got, the people I've been exposed to, I've been able to open up and develop some tools and approaches so that I can actually socialize and not just be the wallflower when it comes to social gatherings or even online. I want to open it up first to all of you guys and think about the last time you received a cold email, last time you received a pitch and somebody asked something of you. Did you guys reply to that? If so, why? All the emails that I receive pretty much follows this format. Hey, I work for this company. We offer these services. Get in touch with us. And I almost never respond. Usually that goes right to the trash. And the challenge is the problem that I've had in the past with this, and the problem with a lot of those emails I receive, it's all about me. Meaning it's so selfish, it's so self-serving, and it totally feels impersonal because you know that this is one email of many. I'm just one of 1,000 people on this list that they've put together. And what it feels like is like you're on the first date, you just met this person, and the first thing you do is you're trying to go in for the kiss, right? It's like, dude, you don't even know me. Like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? No, this would never work in real life, and that's what it feels like when you're getting these emails or when you're cold pitching somebody to offer something or trying to get something out of somebody else. It's like, it just doesn't work because you didn't make it about the other person. So how do you reach out? What is a better way to reach out? And I think if you spend some time, if we're taking the analogy of the first date again, really, and you spend the time understanding who this person is, getting to know them, being curious, really figuring out who they are, then you could start to understand what type of value you could bring to the other person. So spending the time to understand the person's needs and wants and desires, I think is very critical and important before you even do anything. You have to understand what they're all about before you should send an email. So if we break it down in a couple of steps, normally in most instances when either I meet somebody in person, whether I meet them online or I'm trying to reach out and do some kind of cold pitch, I follow these guidelines. Be genuine, be curious, add value, and then go for the ask. So you have to do the first three things before you can go for the ask. Sometimes this requires a little bit of research, just like digging into their social profiles, who they are, what they're into, what they're about. And then you can start having conversations with these first three things about being very genuine, being very honest about what it is that you like about them, be very curious about what it is that they do, and then figure out in there if there's some value that you can add. Don't try and shove down their throat the service that you do. I think if you do that right away and it's really not for them and you're trying to force something on there, that's not really valuable to them. So that's the whole point of the first two, is to be genuine and curious and trying to open them up and understand who they are and what they're about. It's just like what you do for clients in strategy, right? What are your problems? What's getting in the way? How can I help you? I'm taking this approach: be genuine, be curious, add value, and go for the ask. And then now we're looking at the direct message. So I wanted to go over one example that I had sent somebody last year. So a lot of the times, everybody here at the Futur is constantly looking for very interesting guests to have. And what we're very interested is finding somebody who's very talented, that has a cool story, but also has potentially a huge following, so that we could cross promote, right? We take their audience and we combine them with our audience, and we both mutually grow from that. So that's kind of the qualifiers we have for people. So I was surfing around the web, and there was this one influencer. They make content and it's all about being social. So I DM'd them. This is through Twitter. I just censored it just because, again, the deal is not done yet, and I want to protect their identity. So I said, hey, dude, devouring your show. I love it. Keep killing it. So this is just me just being totally genuine, because I really am a subscriber to their show. I love it, and I love all of their content. And then he responded. He's like, right on. Where are you located, and how'd you find the show in the first place? So he's doing his due diligence of just like connecting to the audience. Like, I'm always curious about that. So he's being nice. He's being a good human being. So this is me just being genuine, trying to pay a compliment. I'm not looking for anything. I have not asked for anything at this point. I'm just saying, dude, you're killing it. I love what you do. People almost like 90% of the time will respond to a compliment, even if it's just a thumbs up or a little heart or a little emoji. That's fine. But that's a good conversation starter. And then from there, this is the second phase: be curious. So now you get to ask an open-ended question. So for me, here's what I did. I said, hey, I'm from Los Angeles. I stumbled upon you guys from iTunes, and I'm glad I did. I personally help run a show, and I'm always looking for great content. And I'm curious, do you guys have any episodes that focus on creative types? They seem to be the most introverted types of people. So right now I'm trying to open it up a little bit. It's like, hey, I love your content, but I'm looking for content specifically for introverted creatives. Do you guys have anything like that? And he's like, yeah, there's plenty on the site. It's like, how long have you been listening to the show, and what are some of the things that you like? And then I told him, it's like, I've been listening to the show for a year now. My favorite episodes are the toolbox ones, where it's short, direct, and easy to comprehend. So I'm still trying to flatter him in this, and also show him that, hey, I'm a true fan. Like, I love your stuff. I understand who you are. And I'm just trying to have this nice dialogue with him to open up this conversation. So I'm almost imagining we're at a digital cocktail party. We're at the bar. We're both waiting for our drinks, and we're just having this conversation, right? And I told him, I love the stories, the role play, the breakdowns are really great. Those are my favorite bits of content that you do. So that was me being very curious. So now the third part, I'm trying to add value. It's like, hey, if you're ever interested in spreading your message to our creative audience of over 160,000 subscribers, I'd love to have you as a guest on our show sometime. Let me know. So right now it's like, I found out just by being very genuine, paying a compliment, being very curious about some of the content that they produce, and say, hey, I think there's a value add here. We have a sizable audience. They have a sizable audience of, I think, over 1 million. It's quite large. It's quite large, but there's a mutual crossover promotion here. So I'd love to take your guys' message and put it on our show, because our audience would benefit and you guys would get a nice bump from that. So this is how I'm adding value. Then I go for the ask. So it's like, here we do a show. Here's our channel. We do live streams every week. And then we also have a podcast. So I think either would be great for you, whatever works for you. And he's like, sure, email me. And then he sent me his email. I followed up, and now we're having conversations. In this next example, I'm going to show you how I do it over email. So it's the same approach as far as the same 4 things, but sometimes with email, you only have one shot. It's not necessarily just a conversation, right? It's not like a DM thing where you could go back and forth with them. Sometimes you only get one shot with an email. So the same 4 things apply, right? Where you're being genuine, curious, adding value, and then going for the ask. In addition to that, you have to get to the point and make it super easy for them. I wanted to get published in Fast Company. That was my goal. I knew nobody at Fast Company. So the first thing I did is I went on fastcompany.com. I started looking and reading their articles. Then I went to the music section. And then what I did is I looked at all of the authors of those articles on there. And I started researching at least 10 of those people. So I was looking at the editors, I was looking at the writers, and then I looked them up both on Twitter and on LinkedIn, trying to find any information I could on them. So I reached out to about 10 different people there at Fast Company, at Inc., and a couple of other magazines that I wanted to get published on. And this one was actually successful. So there's this woman, she was a writer. Her name was Evie. And this was my email to her. It's like, hey, I recently directed this video for Coldplay Inc. It's an interactive animated experience here at Blind. I am a subscriber and I love Fast Company. So this is me just getting to the point and making it super easy. This is what I did. And here's a link to that. You can click on that. I'm reaching out to you and your team to see if you'd be interested in featuring an article with an exclusive behind the scenes content from Inc. And it shows exactly how we made it from its inception all the way to final delivery. So this is what I'm trying to add. This is the value add. Here's something that's going to be exclusive to you only. This is the part where I had to do research. I know you've done quite a bit of coverage of music and culture at Billboard, at Rolling Stones, and I feel like this article might be right in your wheelhouse. So I did research on her. I figured out some of the things that she likes to write about, and it's all in the music scene. So I was like, dude, I know this actually fits you. Like, this is true value to you. I've attached a link to a sample PDF. So here's a link which has the breakdown of the process as well as a few sample images I have read. Sorry, I can't read that. I have ready for the article. I also have behind the scenes video pending for approval featuring Chris Martin and the design team behind the project. So I made everything easy in this one PDF where it's like, there's a link to everything. She doesn't have to write anything. It's like, those images are here, all the behind the scenes is here. I have a celebrity in there, like I'm name dropping. I'm just trying to make it super easy. It's like, you just need to say yes, and you could publish this article. And then here's the ask at the end, like, I'd love to give you guys the exclusive, but if this isn't quite the right fit for your publication, I'd love and appreciate any recommends you might have for me. Warm regards, Matthew and Sina. So it's still the same 4 things. The only thing I tried to do is make it super simple for this person. I did a lot of research to understand, who they are and making sure that this is a good fit for them. And I wanted to qualify at the end, like, if this is not a good fit for you, can you please point me in the right direction? Because I would love to work with you guys. So, even if it's not right, ask for the recommendation or follow up later. Okay, so I think a lot of that is trying to reach out, right? Like trying to contact other people in the cold format. Now I want to move a little bit more to social. So I wanted to give a couple of examples here. So when you're on social, and I'm glad you asked this, Julia, and this is just recapping that, is you just want to have conversations online. Everything is a public forum, so you want to have as many conversations as you can. Still keeping the same approach, be genuine, be curious. Like, I think people love that, like they love getting complimented and they love people asking about them. They love being the center of attention. Be friendly, be a good human being, just be nice to people. Don't be a troll. Don't be mean. Don't be judgy. Just be nice, be helpful. People can see that and appreciate that. And then the last thing, if you want something, just ask. And I think that's super important here. And I'm going to show you an example of what I mean. So last year, in the Philippines, there was this group called Creative Anarchy. They were throwing a creative event. In August, they had posted this flyer. It's like, these are the speakers that are going to speak at our inaugural event in December. And it's like, we are looking for a 6th speaker. And they were just crowdsourcing. So once that posted up, I commented with this. It was like a little emoji with a finger pointing to myself. I mean, this is so silly, but I knew the event organizers because I've been having conversations with them online, just like being super friendly with them. And as soon as this thing went up, I commented, and then what happened? 5 minutes later, the event organizer, his name's Raymond, who, again, I developed a relationship online. He's like, hey, Sir Matthew, hey, we would love to have you as part of the event. So we had a couple conversations later. And then in December, what happened is I was flown out to the Philippines, all expenses paid, and I got to speak to a few hundred people. That would have never happened if I didn't develop the relationship online to be nice to these people. And it also would not have happened if I didn't do this silly comment, if I did not ask about being or showing my intent that I want to be a speaker here. So I think it's very clear. Just be super nice to people, develop relationships with people. And then if you want something, you just have to ask. It's super important. Just ask, and it can happen. When you're looking at your social platforms, it's really important to put yourself out there and show your work. And I want to tell another story, another example. Recently, I started doing these design explorations on my Instagram account where I've been a creative director for a long time now, and I haven't made anything for myself for quite a long time. I've just been managing and directing people, and I've been making stuff for my clients, which has been awesome. But recently, I've just gotten the itch to make something for myself, to just do something with my own hands again. So I started picking up some 3D programs. I started learning a couple things, and immediately I started putting out this series. So I did all these 3D renders, and I just started posting it on my Instagram account, started tagging the various software developers and following a couple of trendy hashtags to get the exposure. So I posted a couple of these out there on Instagram, got some pretty good traction. My following started picking up, and then I posted it on Twitter. And then what happened, and this was in the very first week that I started doing this, as you guys know, it goes down in the DM. The community manager at Maxon Cinema 4D, the people who make the program that I use to make all this stuff, he reached out to me. He said, "Hey, Matthew, would you ever be interested in doing a presentation of some of your work at NAB or SIGGRAPH?" It's like, dude, I'd love to. And then I told him, like, hey, I'm not really a technical guy. I'm just picking this up. I'm just a designer, and I'm not the most technical person. He's like, dude, that's perfect. So now I'm going to get flown out to Vancouver, I think, and go speak at SIGGRAPH, which is crazy. And this is the first week that I started putting stuff out there. And that's only because, I was just like, I'm going to make something for myself. I'm going to put it out there. People know that I'm a creative director, that I love teaching. But hey, by the way, I also make stuff, and I make stuff with these programs. So because I did that, because I'm developing these relationships out there, and I'm just putting who I am out there and exposing that, I am able to open up opportunities like this. So I just want to recap some of the points that I was talking about today, and then we can do open Q&A. So my approach really about any conversations, whether that's digital or in person, make it about them. Really focus on them, compliment them, research them, and really understand who they are before you even ask anything. Just have conversations like Julio's doing. Just have conversations without any expectations. Make it super easy, right? And be a very decent human being. Just be nice to everyone you meet. It's the golden rule, and that will take you a very, very long way. When you are ready to go in and make an ask, be genuine, be curious, add value, and go for the ask. You have to do the first 3 before you go for the ask. Otherwise, it's just, again, it's going to sound robotic. It's going to feel automated. It's going to feel like a copy and paste conversation. And then the last bit, make your own opportunities. All of you guys have unlimited potential to make your own opportunities. And I think the challenge that we have as creatives, as introverts, as business owners, we fear rejection, right? We focus on the 99 reasons why somebody's going to say no instead of the one reason that they're going to say yes, right? We focus on, oh, they're too busy. They didn't respond. They don't like my work. Yeah, I'm not good enough. Instead of the one reason why they would actually say yes to you. You just have to switch your mindset and focus on the positive, on the things that you are very qualified for, or the value that you can bring to that person. And you look at it in that sense. So think about it, why not just why. And then this is the biggest thing. If you don't ask, the answer will always be no. So if you don't put your intentions out there about what you want and what you're trying to accomplish, and you don't ask anybody because of fear of rejection or whatever the thing is that's preventing you, the answer will always be no. 100% of the time, it's going to be no if you don't ask. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have more questions about networking, leave it in the comments section below. If you have your own tips that worked for you, I'd love to hear them as well. So I'd love to discuss and chat online. You can find me at Matthew Encina on Twitter and Instagram. If you love this video and want more of it, you should join us on the Futur Pro group, where we host calls like this once a week. You'll have access to me, Ben Burns, Christo, and a whole host of other creative, like-minded entrepreneurs. See you in the Futur Pro group.